Hello, Chris Brasure here. Let's talk about 3 first aid steps for serious head injuries. Now, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this case is a recent case that I was consulted about that involved a young man who tragically died when he fell a few stories while he was working at a construction site. And one of the questions that I was left with was, what if the coworkers knew how to help their coworker or colleague until help arrived? So I wanted to share this with the group. Now, the Mayo Clinic, which is a well-respected hospital system and treatment center, has released some information in the last couple years, and they've identified 3 steps that somebody who's not a trained professional can take to help if they see somebody with a serious head injury. First, keep the person still. Now, that's important to do until medical help arrives, to keep the injured person down and quiet with their head and their shoulders slightly elevated. It's important not to move the person unless absolutely necessary, and avoid moving the person's neck. And if they're wearing a helmet, then you should certainly not remove the helmet. Now, the second step, or the second important thing to know, is to stop any bleeding. Now, it's important to apply firm pressure to any bleeding wound with either sterile gauze, if you have any, or a clean rag. However, according to the Mayo Clinic, it's very important that if you suspect a skull fracture, then you should not apply pressure where there is a skull fracture, because that actually can do more damage. Now, the third thing that I found that is an important first aid step is to watch for changes in breathing and alertness. Now, if the person shows no signs of circulation, like no breathing, or no coughing or any movement, then you or somebody that's trained in CPR should really start immediately until the first responders arrive. And obviously, these suggestions are steps that should be taken after somebody calls 911 so that emergency professionals can get out to the scene as soon as possible.